Hello Chaos Infinity viewers, I'm Ian, the hat guy on the channel.
Well, you are the one who always keeps talking about it anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm Josh. I'm seen the most often, and you're all sick of me. Maybe not. And this is Dale. You haven't actually seen him yet, but if you were to watch the Night of the Living fake trailer that we did, he was the voice of the police officer over the phone that he did. So he has been on the channel before. That's just the first time we've seen him.
So this was a video that was my idea because we have throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I have a major issue. Before I really go into it, before I rant, I want to gush. This is my Iron Man Steelbook. I bought the special edition Steelbook because I think that this is just about the greatest action movie that's ever been made. The action's good, it's easy to see, and the characters are great. Jeff Bridges' dialogue as Obadiah Stane feels natural. So you go to the Avengers movie, every line is written like a script. I say something in response, I finish the punchline. But Jeff Bridges has these awkward pauses that feel natural. And also, it is because of all the Marvel movies, we have a real character arc. Tony Stark starts the movie as a drunken womanizer who's rich and doesn't care about anything. He meets Yinsen and realizes that his complete lack of, I don't know how you'd call it, the complete lack of the ability to take responsibility for his actions has caused real people pain. And he goes and he tries to take responsibility for all the bad things he's done and fix the problems he's made. And that's really where the crux of this rant comes from. Every movie after the first Iron Man has completely thrown away all the character development in the first Iron Man movie. So the first Iron Man movie, Tony Stark's complete lack of oversight on his company allows Stane to sell weapons to the Ten Rings terrorists, causing a lot of innocent people to die, and lets Stane create the Iron Mongrel suit, which ends in a pretty good fight at the end of the movie. Iron Man 2, it's almost not worth mentioning. Iron Man 2 isn't a movie, it is an advertisement for the Marvel movies to come. There's nothing in Iron Man 2 that matters, it's all about setting up the cinematic universe, which is why Jon Favreau left. So Jon Favreau, if you ever want a superhero movie to direct, me and Josh have a shared universe, seriously, you can come direct our comic book universe any day.
I'm still trying to find an artist for that, Matt.
Alright, so we'll go to the Avengers. In the Avengers, we are back to the Iron Man, who just doesn't care. He gets on the SHIELD helicarrier, and he's, oh, you guys are using the Tesseract to build weapons. I'm like, what do you call your army of suits? You let, in Iron Man 2, Colonel Rhodes take a copy of your suit to the military. How did he even get into this suit with the AI? You had to have let this military man have access to your suits. So,
and the suits itself, your pizza-colored murder suits.
Yeah,
what, those aren't weapons?
Yeah, really. So, I mean, and then of course you go and you fight in New York and a bunch of people get hurt because you guys just have this big fight in New York, although it's not as bad as it could be, which I will get to later. Iron Man 3 comes, and we learn that in your past you created whatever the guy's name is, Adrian Killian, I think. Whatever, he's Scientist Supreme is what he is.
He certainly wasn't Mandarin like they were trying to hint.
No, he wasn't Mandarin. As a matter of fact, there's a Marvel one-shot that
proves that the actor wasn't either. So
yep, that there is an actual Mandarin running around, so hopefully we'll see him in a later movie.
That'd be neat.
But
very.
He comes and, he has PTSD because he fought the weakest army in the entire universe, the Chitauri. And, it's like, oh, there's something out there that the 6 of us, one of whom who uses a bow and arrow, could easily defeat. Oh man, I have so much PTSD over it. Fair, some of that was probably when he flew the nuke through the portal, which, admittedly, but still. So what's he do? The Mandarin, okay, so he gets his home, And the Mandarin, it calls him out. So what does he do? He goes, "Hey Mandarin, here's my home address," which you probably should already know, where my girlfriend, who isn't a fighter, is staying. Why don't you come to my house where my girlfriend is? And what? You're just back to being that cocky guy who just doesn't care anymore. You just want to fight the Mandarin, so you just willingly you throw Pepper Potts life away just so you can have your little ego fight.
I feel it's time to remind people that Tony Stark is a genius.
Yeah.
Well, an engineering genius.
Yes.
Clearly he's not good at strategy. So of course, Mandarin flies Apache helicopters and blows his house up, with Pepper Potts inside of it.
Gee.
Because, once again, Tony Stark doesn't care. He just has to fuel his own damn ego. And even at the end of Iron Man 3, it looks like he might be taking this, a step further. So, the next movie, Age of Ultron. This is where it starts to get really bad. I'm going to skip a movie here. But anyway, so we get the Loki Scepter, which turns out is the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
So he goes in there, he's like, "Oh man, this thing is so cool." Bruce Banner's like, "Tony Stark, I'm one of the smartest people on this planet. Maybe you shouldn't mess with the all-powerful God Stone before we know a little bit more about it." Thor goes, "Hey Tony Stark, I know more about this weird magic stuff than anybody else in this group. Maybe we shouldn't mess with the all-powerful God Stone before we know a little bit more about it." So what does Tony Stark do behind everybody's back? "Captain America, I'm the moral center of this group. Maybe we shouldn't mess with the all-powerful God Stone before we know a little bit about it." He hooks it up to the internet. He creates Ultron. He creates the machine that lifts a city into the sky, and that's not even including the fact that it was his weapons that created Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's personal vendetta against him. And it was a Stark weapon that was sent to their house because, this guy who's all about peace now made sure... Oh, wait, no, he didn't make sure that nobody had access to his weapons anymore. I mean, there was seeing a whole set piece in Iron Man 1 where he was getting rid of his weapons out on the market. Apparently he did that for about 20 minutes and was like, "Good enough." Nobody else can have any of my
Turns out
weapons."
the world is huge and
I just can't be bothered.
happy hours in 20 minutes.
Off he goes.
I just can't be bothered to finish what I started.
I'm too rich to do all this work.
Yeah.
Apparently not even rich. He's not like, "I can hire somebody to do this for me."
Well, the hiring process, that takes too much work too. Yeah.
So
if he actually had someone on his payroll whose entire job was to hire people, oh wait, he should.
Yeah.
Really. So he creates Ultron. He's like, "I'm gonna put a suit around the world. I'm done building weapons. Except for this army of weapons that I'm using as peacekeeping in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
In the beginning of Age of Ultron." So no, instead he creates Ultron because Banner, Rogers, Thor all told him not to do what he did. Every death that happened because that planet or that city was lifted into the sky is on Stark and Stark alone. No, and absolutely no accountability on his part. He just happily I'm just gonna build another machine. Luckily, this time it worked when he modified. He didn't even build Vision. Ultron built Vision, and he modified it. So all he did was fix a slight problem Ultron had created. And he's frankly lucky that it worked this time.
What got me is they all said, "Hey, this isn't a good idea, Tony," and then they still left him alone with it. They didn't bother to watch him.
Really?
Yeah, so it's on them a little bit.
A little bit, but only enough that...
You're right. Rogers is like, "Hey, I told you not to do it." And Tony Stark's like, "Well, it's really your fault for letting someone like me have access to the all-powerful God Stone you know nothing about."
It's their fault in the sense that
they should have known better.
They owned the rabid dog and didn't
let the 10-year-old play with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
So anyway, Stark does, and then they go and they fight and they beat Ultron, blah 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 blah. The next major movie would be Civil War, right?
think so.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm skipping Civil War, because Civil War is really where it really ticks me off in Civil War. And then I'm trying to think what would be Homecoming? Would that be his next major appearance?
I think so.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's Spider-Man Homecoming, he's helping Peter Parker, whatever, you know, and Peter Parker's doing his best. Peter Parker is trying very hard to make sure he is responsible for his city. It's like, oh, these guys have super weapons. Hey, Tony, these guys have super weapons. Whatever, I can't be bothered. I'm in India probably banging some Indian hookers.
But I'm going to yell at you and punish you for trying to take care of it yourself, even after you already told me.
Yeah.
And
So-
I said I'm not going to do anything.
So now, Parker...
Well, that one part with the ferry.
the ferry's
did-
coming up. The
he-
ferry's part of the rant. No. The ferry's bad.
Oh,
The
okay.
ferry's very bad. Ferry really ticked me off. So Spider-Man's trying to get these these weapons modeled off Ultron that Tony Stark built off the streets.
That and Chitauri weapons.
Chitauri
They were
weapons.
the handful of both.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
they-
yes.
There were Chitauri weapons. Oh, which by the way, Vulture only exists because Tony Stark created damage control. He created a government entity to clean up the messes, to get paid to clean up the messes he makes. Damage control is him getting a paycheck to clean up the damage he had done with people like Ultron. Are you kidding me? This isn't accountability. He has no reason to want to stop hurting people because he's getting paid to clean up the mess.
Yeah.
So now,
The yellow one has to be solid gold. Yes.
so the only reason the only reason Toomes is selling these weapons is because Tony took his job. Toomes wasn't doing anything wrong. All he was doing was trying to clean up disaster areas, which is something there are private organizations that do. That's what they do, is they help clean up disaster areas. But no, Tony Stark kicks him to the curb with not so much as a pension. I don't know, maybe he did pay him off, but I'm going to pretend like he didn't because it helps my
It was
record.
insulting enough to Toomes for him to do his thing, so.
So now Peter Parker is cleaning up a mess Tony Stark made. Tony Stark chastising him for cleaning up the mess that Tony Stark can't be bothered to clean up of his own mess. So he's like, okay. He tells them about this deal that's going on this ferry. Spider-Man's like, I gotta stop the ferry. I've gotta stop this. I cannot let these weapons keep getting into terrorist hands. So he goes and he stops, and there's a big fight, and the ferry gets split in half. And Spider-Man, 15-year-old Spider-Man, does his best to save the ferry that he was trying to help. You know, these scenes, I think, in Spider-Man Homecoming, where Spider-Man's not fighting a villain, but, like, trying his
Saving
best to
people?
save
Yeah.
people, are good.
They're great scenes.
Because this is something you don't see in these other hero movies. They're just more than happy to smash a city block and then walk away and let somebody else steal the product.
I'd love to see more superhero disaster movies where they're just there to save people.
Quick side note, you
Yeah.
know who I want to see a movie of? Pepper Potts' Rescue.
Rescue, yeah. She'd be
I think,
perfect for that kind of movie.
Rescue would be a great movie. But no, so Peter Parker tries to save this ferry. Tony Stark swoops in, shuts the ferry, and he's like, comes up, he's like, oh, you did a bad thing, I told you not to go. And Peter Parker's like, I'm not gonna let, Alien and Ultron super weapons, Ultron, you created, Tony, you created, these weapons are your design, I'm not gonna let them go into people's streets. Well, who do you think called the FBI? You know what, Stark, you could have spent 3 minutes, get me on the phone and be like, Peter, look. I told you not to go I told you not to go do this. I called the FBI. I've got it taken care of. No, you could not be bothered to spend 3 minutes explaining the situation to Peter Parker. You knew he was going to go into that situation and try to stop it. This is what he's been doing. No, you couldn't be bothered, could you, Tony? You could not be bothered. You are too busy doing your little Playboy bullcrap. You could not be bothered to explain to this kid your plan. Because that's the man you are, Tony Stark. That is the piece of crap you are. Is this kind of guy who you just let this 15-year-old almost get sliced in half because you can't be bothered. So let's go back to Civil War. And this is what made me truly hate Stark with a passion. So in the beginning of Civil War, the Avengers are trying to stop Crossbones from stealing a biological weapon. If you know anything about warfare, you know how dangerous and deadly a biological weapon is. So, the Avengers stop a man from getting terrorist from getting a biological weapon. He blows himself up. Scarlet Witch captures the explosion and redirects it. A bunch of people died. Okay, first of all, how many more people would have died had Scarlet Witch not done that? Okay, the Avengers weren't there, he wouldn't have blown himself up. How many more people would have died had a biological weapon gotten into the hands of the Ten Rings, or ISIS, or Hydra, or any of these organizations?
Yeah.
Or just gotten out into the environment.
Yeah.
Because they tend to mutate.
Or leave
because, you know, a group of terrorists had this gotten out in anyone's hands. How many, okay, what did the thing say? A couple hundred people?
Yeah, the casualties were surprisingly low.
How many more people would have died had the Avengers not been there? God knows the UN wasn't there stopping Crossbones, were they? No, the UN just let this dude walk into a protected facility and walk out with a dangerous biological weapon. It was Captain America and Black Widow and Falcon that stopped Crossbones from getting this biological weapon. Not you, UN. The UN's like, oh, you, look at all the people you killed. 100 people died because you let a terrorist walk into a building. You let the man walk in! How did you not stop him? You're the UN. This should be a protected military facility. You guys should have no fly zones and like... No, you just... Dude, freaking plate mail just walks in and like, ooh, this looks like a good weapon.
Don't go in there, we'll give you a sanction.
Yeah, really.
Oh,
That's for the UN. Yeah.
But no, so some people die, and then UN's like, well, we need to hold you under wraps. Okay, UN, you mean you, the guys who let the world's most notorious terrorist organization infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D.? Yeah, that was a real good job you did stopping Hydra from infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D., wasn't it? Clearly you guys are the competent ones in this group. And Tony's like, yeah, we absolutely should. And you know what this is? You know what this is. This is Tony Stark redirecting blame. They're like, well, what about all the people that died in Sokovia? Rogers and Thor and Banner all told Stark not to build Ultron. All of them told him that he was in the wrong for building Ultron. But he is the one who wants to tell these guys what responsibility is. No, you killed all those people, Stark, and you feel bad about it. And instead of fixing the problem yourself, you have decided, oh, I'm gonna let somebody else take all the blame for me. No, there is no responsibility in you, Stark. Everything. This movie is so good. I watched it the other night. It holds up. It's still the best of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Jon Favreau's a genius. You have a character arc. Everything this movie stood for in the trash. Because you have decided that you will not take responsibility for your actions anymore, Tony Stark. This is the problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There is no character development. There is no story arcs. The action is good. The stories are interesting. And heaven knows that, you know, this is something that isn't done very often. Joss Whedon, like, oh, it's never been done before. Okay, yeah, it's great unless you count the Toho-verse, you know. Godzilla in 1963 did shared universe long before you did.
What about the Universal shared monster universe? Because the Mummy, the Wolfman, they were all together.
Yeah.
That is true, but they kind of saw more as like a death battle thing. Where
yes.
The consequences of the Mummy versus Wolfman.
They didn't cross over. Yeah.
But the Godzilla universe, things that happened in previous Godzilla movies did affect later. Yeah. But no, you know, what you're doing is unique and it's cool and I enjoy it. And, you know, if you see my last, I gave Infinity War a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. That movie doesn't even get a 10 out of 10. It's my favorite action movie of all time. It only gets a 9 out of 10. My favorite movie of all time I won't give a 10 score to because it's not perfect. I like your movies, Marvel. I really do. why have you thrown away character development? Why have you thrown away Stark's character development? He goes through a real emotional arc. The scene where Jensen commits suicide by police, I guess you'd call it. He runs into the fight and willingly dies because his family is dead and it's the only way he can see him again. That's an emotional scene. Stark's emotions in that scene, they're real. You can feel that. You can feel that Stark was like, wow, I have just been letting the world go, and I have taken no responsibility for the things I've done. I have to. The moment he discovers what Stane's doing, he starts moving in the direction to stop Stane from doing it. And it's just gone. You're just back to making Tony Stark the snarky Joss Whedon man. I don't like Joss Whedon. That's a different rant. Just, oh, I'm gonna make a snarky comment. That's all I do. And the Hulkbuster armor. You're gonna make a machine that's on par with the Hulk? The Hulk gets stronger the more you hit him.
The madder he gets, the stronger he gets.
And getting punched.
Adrenaline surge.
I would make like the Hulkbuster armor that's like soothing, like purple with like lullaby music playing and like stuffed animal weapon.
The mere concept of his Hulkbuster design is pure arrogance.
Yes, it is pure arrogance. And I didn't want to talk about Infinity War, but I will just say this. The Hulkbuster armor actually makes a really cool appearance in Infinity War.
Yeah,
so I'm not mad that specific... But you are just like, I can build something stronger.
Yeah.
Why try? Why try to build something stronger than the Hulk? You know the Hulk's weakness. If he calms down, just call up Betty Ross and be like, hey, Betty Ross, I got a suit I need you to pilot. Because apparently he can just build suits for anyone.
It all comes down to his ego, though. He has to find some way to tech his way to be an equal to other members of the Avengers.
It's not even. That's not only that. I have to be the center of attention. I have to be the center of attention. Hulk is the strongest. I'm gonna show them. I can, stone, literally a stone that holds 1/6 the power of the entire universe. I can handle that. I can take care of that. Wow. I mean, you don't know that's how, he doesn't know exactly how powerful the Infinity Stones are, but he certainly knows it's far outside of his reach. Banner, Thor, Rogers all told Stark that it's beyond his reach. He still built Ultron. All those deaths are still his. Like, and in Civil War, they're like, look at all the people that died in New York. You wanted to drop a nuke on the entire city. There would have been way more damage than what the Avengers did.
The Avengers did a good job. I remember in Civil War they showed the reports of how many died in all these different incidents, and the casualty counts were really low, to be honest.
Like in the hundreds for...
It's like lower than what natural disasters usually claim.
I mean, the events of the first Avengers, if I remember correct, I haven't seen Civil War in a while, it was only a couple hundred.
Right.
That's not bad considering we were on a full-scale invasion. And a full-scale invasion, I mean, we were being invaded by aliens. And then Tony Stark's just like, you're right, we should listen to these people. Because he doesn't want to take responsibility for all the things. The events of the first Avengers are not his fault, other than his ego, his unchecked ego, is what let Loki do what Loki did. But honestly, all the Avengers were at fault for that one.
Right.
But what happened in Sokovia, that was your fault, Stark. You take responsibility for it. You don't tell Rogers. You don't tell Thor. Thor and Banner weren't there. But you don't tell these people who are trying to give you the voice of reason saying, Tony, don't let your ego take care of this. I'm not saying don't mess with the Godstone. What I'm saying is let's try to figure it out before we hook it up to the internet. But no, you're just happy to take that responsibility and hand it off to the United Nations. You're just perfectly content on doing that. And then the other event that kicked off Civil War was Bucky Barnes attacking the embassy, killing T'Chaka.
Yeah.
You know what? T'Challa wanted to rip Bucky Barnes' head off. That is an understandable reaction to having your father being blown up. Tony Stark at this point didn't know that Bucky Barnes had killed his parents. The end fight scene where he's trying to kill Bucky Barnes, it's an understandable reaction. He knew this guy killed his parents. No, he was perfectly intent on handing this guy over to a government we know is corrupt. A government that let Hydra create S.H.I.E.L.D. I cannot stress this enough. That would be like if the Department of Homeland Security we found out was created by ISIS. I mean, that is mind-boggling to think that something like that could happen. But the UN let it happen? And he wants to hand responsibility over to these people? No, it's deflecting blame is all it is. And that is why I had to make this video. I know all 7 of you out there watching it, about half of you are going to get mad about it. But I just had to say it, because this drives me insane. And hopefully in Infinity War Part 2, Tony Stark dies, so this crap can end. But then what we're going to have is a villain for the rest of the movies. Tony Stark's been the only consistent villain throughout all the movies.
Yeah, what are we gonna do now? Yeah. Guess we better pull DC and retcon things again.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys have anything to say on the matter?
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Good job bringing a 15-year-old into space to fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't Stark's fault. Stark didn't try to stop him.
Yeah.
So.
And he may have been about 16 by then.
Fair enough. Still, the dude can't even drink alcohol. Why are you giving him a super suit?
For the most part, I think the Marvel movies I enjoyed the most had the least amount of Tony Stark in it. It's like I did enjoy... Honestly, I enjoyed Captain America, the First Avenger.
Captain America, the First Avenger is a great movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, I enjoyed those.
Captain America, the First Avenger is a great movie if you look at it for what it is.
Yes.
It is meant to mimic the 1940s war, they call it war swell films, where it's the heroic soldiers taking on the evil villain. It's not meant to be a morality play, it's meant to just be a hero story.
Yeah.
The Guardians of the Galaxy are great. They have a lot of great humor, and James Gunn has brought that humor to the Guardians. And
Doctor Strange, I love Doctor Strange.
And for my rant against Tony Stark, if you haven't seen it, watch Spider-Man: Homecoming. It is really good. It's like an 8.5 out of 10.
Homecoming's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
It's just that thing where Tony Stark, I feel, is bad.
He had to cram his goateed face into the movie.
But you know what? I think part of it's good despite it, because, well, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen Homecoming, so if you haven't seen Homecoming, we're probably just going to go over the Marvel use, so you can probably turn the video off now.
I figured at this point, it was buyer beware. People should know by now, from even the title of the video, they knew we were going to get into spoilers of stuff,
But I feel a lot of Spider-Man's Homecoming strength is despite Stark, because where Stark takes his suit away, because Stark's really wanting to preach about him, well, if you're a real hero, you don't need a suit. Yeah, well, screw you, Stark, because that's all you are.
Wound up doing stuff without the suit.
But the scene where Vulture drops the building on him, and he musters his own strength, and then at the end of the movie, where he tells Stark he doesn't need the more advanced suit, he tells Stark he doesn't need a suit at all. Stark just gives him the suit at the very end of the movie.
And it wasn't actually a test. Peter thought it was a test, that Tony was trying to teach him a lesson. He's like, I don't need the suit. And he walks away, and he was about to press conference him into the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't actually a test at all.
No. I don't even think he thought it was a test. I think Spider-Man just came to the realization that he was a hero whether Stark gave him the suit or not. It was just, I don't need to be tethered to you to be a hero. I proved that when, and it's just a brilliant scene where Vulture drops the building on Peter and he cries. I mean, he's a male superhero and he cried. And I think that is a strong testament to the character of Peter Parker. It's a 15-year-old who had a building dropped on him. Yeah, he's gonna cry.
Yeah.
Frankly, if I had a 4-pound weight dropped on me, I might shed a tear or two.
Yeah.
But no, what he cries because he realizes how weak he is, and then he musters because he realizes how strong he is. And that one scene, outside of the first Iron Man, had done more character development than any of the other movies with Tony Stark in it. I would even go as far as to say as almost any of the other Marvel movies. I mean, we don't really see a lot of character development. At the end of Guardians 2, Star-Lord isn't a different character despite what he knows.
No, he's not different. Oh, one thing, back to Spider-Man. One thing that really impressed me about this incarnation of Peter Parker, and honestly it's kind of true with most incarnations of Peter Parker, but I was really pleased. He did a very Parker thing at the end of Homecoming in going in to actually save Vulture.
Yes.
He didn't have to save this person's life, but it was a very...
Well, I'm gonna go DC here, and a man who never kills Batman. At the end of Batman Begins, where he lets Ra's al Ghul die. Okay, he killed Ra's al Ghul. There was no reason he couldn't save him. It's not like, oh, my options are, save myself or try to save us both and we both die. No, he didn't have to. Peter Parker risked his life because the Vulture basically had a bomb attached to him.
Yeah, he had the...
He willingly put his life in danger to try to save the villain of the story. That is such a hero moment.
Yeah.
That is... Seriously, watch Homecoming. If you've seen Homecoming, watch it again. If you own Homecoming, buy it on Blu-ray. If you have it on Blu-ray, buy it on 4K. Seriously, this movie needs to make money. We need more movies like this out there.
Ironically, Vulture is Batman.
That's true.
So
So
stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
But... Well, I mean...
also at the end of Spider-Man...
Batman's now Daredevil. So, and Deadpool's the Green... Wow.
And Deadpool's the Green Lantern.
Lots of dual identities here.
Yeah.
But, no, seriously, like... Not back on the Spider-Man thing, it's just... That character is what I want in these Marvel movies. A heroic hero, not...
So much better than Stark.
Well, and how many villains have these heroes not let die, killed?
Straight out killed.
Tony Stark murdered Stain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. The dude had the Iron Mongrel suit. You had to do something. I get it. The dude just let Whiplash die. He had a bomb strapped to him. That was a case of... well... It's either save Pepper or save the villain. I can't save both. I have to pick one. Okay, you made the right choice in that one, Stark. I guess they didn't kill, they let Zemo live, but Ronan, Ego, Arlim Zola in Winter Soldier, I'm trying to think some of the other ones. The guy nobody remembers from Doctor Strange.
Cadius or whatever the heck his name is.
The guy who was in all of 4 comics.
Yeah.
You either let them die or kill them. And there's the argument of, well, Batman lets Joker live. At what point are all of Joker's deaths on Batman's conscience? At what point is it, I kill this one guy to save 300? But... Spider-Man's 15. That's not the kind of morality that fits into his character. And you know what? Maybe after 3 fights, he might just let Vulture die. Be like, at this point,
first time, let's throw him in jail. He's nothing without his tech.
And also, let's be completely honest, Vulture was driven to where he was. Mm-hmm. Vulture didn't want to be the bad guy.
No.
Trying to think. Like I said, I sound like I'm hard on the Marvel movies, but I really do enjoy them.
That's why you want them to be better.
That is why I want
He
them.
criticizes them to improve them, yes.
I don't think Civil War is a great movie, but that airport scene, that's
That was the price of admission. That's what you went
Exactly.
That's what you went in to see.
everything else was
The rest of the backstory, you didn't go in to watch that boring stuff. You wanted to see the super fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And frankly, the end fight with Stark and America, that was a good fight.
That was a
scene.
good fight. Yeah.
And I enjoyed those two fight scenes. And frankly, the copy of Civil War I have, that money I spent, and a lot of the miles are from those two fight scenes, and I don't regret it. It was almost worth it just to see Hawkeye shoot Ant-Man on an arrow.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
iconic, and that was just a great scene. That was just great. And Ant-Man pulling the pieces inside of Stark's armor. That was amazing, and it was almost worth the $20 I spent on the DVD for that one little set right there, that one little piece.
What about when he became Giant Man?
That was
For the first time, yeah.
That was a good scene too. Both Guardians of the Galaxy I thought were great movies. The first was a little better because I thought the ego being Star-Lord's father kind of bogged the narrative down a little bit, but it served the purpose of
At least that way they don't have to explain the Spar toy.
Yeah. And it served the purpose of reinforcing the message of the first one, which was, they're now a family. Ego might have been the man who gave birth to Star-Lord, to Peter Quill, but Yondu basically raised him. Yondu is Star-Lord's father.
He may be your father, boy, but he ain't your daddy.
There you go.
And that's it. The message of Guardians of the Galaxy is that it doesn't matter where we come from, no matter what happens in our past, we can still have a family if we're willing to put those bonds together. And the two Guardians of the Galaxy movies are great for that. And frankly, I like The Incredible Hulk. It drug in parts. But honestly, it was as close to a good Hulk movie as we're going to get, where it doesn't treat the Hulk like a hero. It treats the Hulk like a gun that needs to be aimed. The Hulk's not a hero, he's a tornado. He just destroys what's in his path.
Yeah.
The trick is pointing him in the right direction, not characterizing him to make him a hero. Which is something that Ragnarok kind of did. I didn't think Ragnarok was great, but I haven't thought any of the Thor movies were all that great. I like Doctor Strange, but certainly the visuals carried a lot of that weight, too.
Yeah. I've come to bargain.
That was a great scene.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's amazing that
Benedict Cumberbatch was a good Doctor
Benedict
Strange.
Cumberbatch was a great
When I
Doctor
saw
Strange.
him in the outfit, for the first time, I was like, yes.
Uh-huh.
He looks like he walked right off the pages.
And isn't it amazing that we had a hero that annoyed a villain to defeat?
Yeah.
He didn't beat the villain, he just annoyed the villain.
How are you going to beat this immortal, eternal being? I'm going to Groundhog Day him until he's done.
Until he just gives up. Like, I can't be bothered anymore.
I don't want any more of you.
I'm just
It's like,
gonna
God, it's like, who would have thought mortals could be so annoying? I thought they only died once.
That's all I have to say. I enjoy the
the
cinematic universe. And go buy a copy of the first Iron Man again, because we need more movies like that made.
We went on a huge rant. Ian got Stark raving mad.
Yeah.
But
It's like I'm gonna be the title of a video.
probably.
Alright.
I think I'm going to put it down there. Stark raving mad.
Don't worry,
Marvel discussion.
I have plenty more to say about comic book movies, so if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like, and go ahead and leave a comment down there if you want to see more of me talk about good and bad, because I've got a lot of good things to say about these movies too.
And I can arrange time for him to record more stuff if that's what you want.
We
yes.
see each other every week, so I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy enough. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, ring that little bell if you want to, yeah. Well, YouTube's crazy. Hit a little notification bell. I don't know if you know how that works.
I don't.
Subscription is not the way it works. It used to work in YouTube. But now, not only have to subscribe, you click your little bell, to turn on notifications so they'll always tell you that your subscription has posted a new video. And then they have like 3 settings for the stupid bell, so you have to set it for always alert. And even then, I don't even have a guarantee that it even works.
I don't know.
I'm starting to really hate YouTube.
Hey, here's what I do on YouTube. I search a I'm subscribed to a couple of channels. I search a video, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see this. Mostly what I use it for is to watch cat videos with my daughters. So they really like to watch cats
they like the
fall
cat
in
videos.
bathtubs.
Well, who doesn't? You know?
And to watch Chaos Infinity, which you should too. 'Cause this man's good at his job.
Oh, yeah.
He's not really. I just want more airtime.
Nice. Anyway,
It's probably been long enough.
yeah. I was like, lost all track of time. Who knows how long this is? But I'm fun.
Me too.
Anyway, so till next time, whatever. See ya.